So now we can handle expressions like 2 plus 3 or x plus 1. But if you think about most of the Python programs you've written, they've got quite a bit more going on. Things like if statements or assignment statements that influence the state or change which parts of the program are executed. Formally, we say that statements or program parts like if or while or return change the flow of control. And a potential reasonable analogy for control flow is a river. Here I've written a relatively simple bit of Python code, but we could sort of trace through it, noting which lines get visited. We're definitely going to visit x equals 1. We'll take a look at this if. Because x is 1, it's less than 5, so we're going to curve in here and evaluate this print. But then we're going to kind of skip over this all else branch and rejoin things here. So we've got this flow that sometimes branches, seems to fork, rejoins at the end. Control flow. Which part of the program do we execute? If I'm to keep my finger on the line that we're currently worried about, how does my finger move around? We're going to need to handle this sort of thing if we're building an interpreter for JavaScript and HTML. So things like if, while, and return change the flow of control. These things are called statements to distinguish them from expressions. Expressions are typically a bit simpler. They're more like noun phrases in a natural language. A statement is more like an entire sentence. It's going to contain a verb as well or some instruction like change the value of x or jump over here. Statements often contain expressions, but not the other way around. You can think of this as being a bit of a hierarchy. This whole thing is a statement. The usual abbreviation for statement is STMT. But just this little part down here is an expression. Just like a whole sentence may contain one or two nouns. So let's say we have an environment that maps the variable x to the value 2. And now I've written a JavaScript program below it that contains an if-then-else statement. Should remind you a lot of Python. If x is less than 5, the variable y is going to be assigned Don. Otherwise, the variable y is going to be assigned Quixote. In our environment where x is 2, x is less than 5 will be evaluated to true. So the flow of control will visit here and here, but will skip these two and rejoin us down here at the bottom. And hopefully at the end of the day, we'll have a new environment where x maps to 2 and the variable y maps to Don. Don Quixote is a classic novel written by Miguel de Cervantes around 1605. We get a number of expressions from it like tilting at windmills in English. The protagonist believes a windmill to be a mortal foe, perhaps a dragon, and he charges up but gets knocked down by the whirling arms each time. And these days, tilting at windmills means trying something over and over again, even though you know you're never going to succeed. An impossible task.